Well, welcome to My Story, My Reality. I'm Joe Davis, the most common white person name you can have. And today we're diving into deep stories through the perspectives and shapes of our realities with our wonderful guest, Monique Beatty. Hello.
Well, hello, Joe. How are you today?
I am doing great, and it is so wonderful to meet you.
And you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Well, I was hearing so much about you, and so I was getting really excited when I was given the opportunity to do this podcast with you. And I was just like, let's do it. I've never done a podcast before. So here I am interviewing somebody. Hooray. I love
Hooray.
it.
We're both newbies here.
We
Can I
are.
start with something?
I would love it if you did. Ease the
Awesome.
tension.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, through the power of our minds, we can create prisons or palaces, wealth or poverty, joy or suffering.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
That is a
So I
good
wanna-
thing.
Wanted to start with that.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I have to look at the notes or the questions on my phone, so just don't mind me.
Let's get to it.
I am going to start with this one because it really is just, I feel like it should set the podcast, in my opinion. What's your story? Like, what brought you back to Kirkwood?
Ooh.
And why did you leave in the first place?
Okay. I left because I was pregnant, and that was 23 years ago. The child that I was pregnant with is now 23 and has her own family. The Quaker Oats factory just did not work for my stomach, and I was throwing up constantly driving in and out of Cedar Rapids. So I withdrew all that while ago. And why am I back? I am back because, like I read, through the power of our minds, we can create prisons or palaces, wealth or poverty. And I'm here to create a palace. I'm back to create a palace.
Well, there you go. Oh my gosh, I just love that.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank
Even though it was like forever ago, I feel like I still have to say something. It's my first time meeting you.
You as well.
Right.
I'm enjoying this. Okay.
Awesome. Well, honestly, I'm like, well, what do I do? So, what's the purpose of college for you?
This go round, because this is my third go round, really, as an adult with college. I went to DeVry straight out of high school and realized that wasn't for me. I was just kind of doing anything at the time, because that's what I thought we were supposed to do. You graduate, you go to college. Then my next go round was Kirkwood, and like I said, I was pregnant at that time. Didn't really understand how I was gonna maneuver having a new baby, school. I had other kids at home, and then I went to MCC. I live in Muscatine, and I went to MCC. And when I got there, I was really stoked for school. I was like, really positive attitude. And then I got in the class, and I was like, oh wow, me and the teacher are the oldest things in here. And I'm in class with 20-somethings. And that got to me. I'm going to be very honest. I was just like, it was a composition class. We were critiquing each other's work. And I was just thinking to myself, why do I have 20-somethings critiquing my paper that I worked so hard on? They don't even have any real perspective on life at this point, and it was really messing with me. So this go round for me, it really is just about me. It's about not having that fear, not coming in with preconceived notions about how it's going to go, just letting it be what it's going to be. That's what it is for me this go round.
That is amazing. And I can completely resonate with the fear. So after high school, I was like, I'm going to go straight to college. I'm going to have a great time. I get here, I'm doing nursing. I said, nope, not for me. And I had a fear of failure. And I was not about that. And honestly, getting out with a whole new crowd from like people from all over, you go from elementary to middle school to high school, but that's all people from your area.
Absolutely.
College completely different story. And so I'm like, what am I gonna do? And so I dropped out. Or I wouldn't say dropped out. Well, whatever. We'll say dropped out. And I took some time to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. Started working full time. I still do, so I go here part time.
Okay.
But it took some time for me to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until just basically like 2 years ago, I was like, I want to do business.
Okay.
But what I want to do in business, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Sky's the limit, though.
Exactly. And so it wasn't until I got into principles of marketing, I'm like, well, this is my calling. I love it. It's so much fun. And I was like, I don't know what I was so scared of when it came to actual, like, people interactions. It's like, I'm such a people person. But it's like, oh, talking to people is kind of scary sometimes because they just kind of look at you, especially when you're older than them. And then they start judging you. And I'm like, wait, I'm older than you. Shouldn't I be judging you?
We shouldn't be judging anybody.
Well, exactly.
And I think the harshest critics are us with ourselves.
Oh.
We're the harshest critics to ourselves. And I just want to backtrack on something that you said about fear. I had to realize that. So I heard this acronym for fear, and it's false evidence appearing real. And it's like, where do we get that from? Where do we get that evidence from? It's internal.
Mm-hmm.
We tell it to ourselves. We convince ourselves of things not working out, or it not being this way, or it may turn out that way. It's our own self-talk that creates that fear. So once we convince ourselves that fear is not a real thing, failure is not a real thing, then it really propels you to do your absolute best.
I mean, I will say, me and the mirror have had some tough conversations. But now we love each other. We love each other, and it's a great time.
I tell myself every morning, I love you. I tell myself that every morning. I look in the mirror and I recite it to myself 10 times, that I love me.
That is amazing.
And I struggled with that for a long time, a very long time, because I was so busy loving other people that I thought that's what loving me was.
Mm-hmm.
Until I realized that's not what loving me is about, that I really have to put some time and some effort and some care into myself.
You were almost like draining yourself.
I definitely was. I was an educator, preschool paraeducator for 7 years, and the school that I worked at introduced this program, and one of the things that they talked about was bucket filling and dipping and taking out of someone's bucket. And I realized that I had been allowing myself, and it wasn't other people were doing it as well, but I was allowing it to happen, that I was allowing my bucket to be depleted, and there was nobody there to replenish my bucket. I wasn't thinking about replenishing my bucket, and nobody else. When you're everybody else's strength, who do you go to for strength? And I really had to reconcile that with myself. So right. I'm definitely not emptying out my cup for other people anymore. I'm allowing. The other thing I really had to, and I think this goes along with when you're a giver, you don't know how to be a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you're so busy taking care of other people, and, I used to often, the words that would leave my mouth often was, I'm good. But was I really? I really wasn't.
Right.
So I really had to kind of get back to myself, who I know authentically is me, and I had to learn how to be in a position of receiving. And I still struggle with that a little bit, but it's getting easier.
It'll get easier throughout the day, and there will be tough days, and there will be good days.
Absolutely.
And it's just part of life. There are times I don't even want to get out of bed, and I love those days because it's time for me to just reflect and heal myself, basically. It's a recharging.
Absolutely.
In a way, and I love it because sometimes the bad days can be a good day, too. You just got to flip the script.
What do you like to do to recharge?
What do I like to do to recharge? I have multiple things that I like to do. Sometimes it's just TikTok. I'm like, ooh, let me just scroll on there, and then it's like 3 hours pass by. I'm like, oh. Otherwise, you know, a long shower, a nice hot shower. Oh, I love it. Cooking, running is a big therapy for me. I could run for miles and just be like, oh, I feel so much better. Because, you know, I'm focusing on bettering myself through physical activity.
Absolutely.
I don't have time to think about negativity.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, well, I'm so glad I had this talk with you, Joe. And plus, I get to look at a beautiful scenery. I always like to pick a really nice, like, wooded trail or a trail by the river. And Iowa is really good about having some, like, really pretty areas. You just got to look for them.
You really do.
Mhm.
They're out there. I like to hike.
Oh, yeah.
I love hiking, and every now and then I have this really great spot at a place called Wildcat Den that I go to.
Now,
And
where is that?
So don't quote me. I'm not sure if it's in Scott County or if it's still in Muscatine County, but it's right outside Muscatine. And they have a waterfall.
Ooh.
They have a mill there. They have some caves there. But there's one trail in particular that I like to go on because at the end of it is this clearing, and it's just like open, and the sun shines through it so beautifully. I usually just park there and listen to music and meditate and talk to the trees and
Yes.
get some of that, you know,
See,
R in, and then head out.
yeah. And music is such a big part, too.
It's so therapeutic.
It is. And I can have a music for, like, literally anything. I love sad music, too, because even when I'm sad, that sad music can just, can just pull me right out. See how happy I was talking about it? See, I think it's so cool. And, you know, it's so fun when I, like, am talking about smaller artists and people are like, oh, I love her, too, or I love that band. And I'm like, you do? How do you know them? And then I can talk about it, like, what's your favorite song? Like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking cool.
It's nice when you can find something that you have in common with them.
And then you can start a conversation about it,
Absolutely.
too. And then you meet new people. And I'm like, yay.
And then where's that fear?
Exactly. Gone.
Gone. Absolutely.
This is a podcast about how fear should not define you. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A little bit more about like my story is that by the age of 19, I was a teenage mom 3 times over. And I really wanted to just kind of flip that narrative on its head. I was I was downtown Iowa City with my sister. My sister's 14 years older than me. And we have kids that are around the same age. Her daughter's 4 months older than my son. So we were pregnant right around the same time. And I remember there was somebody we were like in the Ped Mall. And somebody was doing interviews, and they wanted to interview myself and my sister. And it was about, you know, being a mom. And so the lady was asking like our ages. And so my sister gave her age, and she asked my sister a few questions. And then she came to me and she asked me my age, and I told her. And her question to me was very different than her questions to my sister. What does it feel like to be a teenage mom? And I didn't know how to answer that because I didn't know what it felt like to be a teenage mom. I only knew what it felt like to be a mom. And so by the time I hit 19, like I said, I was a mom 3 times over. I graduated pregnant. And so, you know, going forward, thinking about the narrative that I wanted to create for my life, not the narrative that society wanted to put on me. We always want to slap labels on people. And I just don't, you know, I don't think that that's okay, especially if we don't ask their permission. Nobody asked me, did I want the label of teenage mom? I'm just a mom.
Exactly.
So even that young, I realized that I was going to encounter some people and some things in life that aren't going to quite resonate with me. And it's up to me to give the narrative of my own story and not allow somebody else to give the narrative of who Monique is.
Exactly. This is your story.
It is my story, absolutely. And I'm really just realizing that, honestly. I'm really just kind of coming in to, I won't even say coming into, I'll say coming back to who Monique is. Yeah. Not who I was, not who I'm going, just who I am in the present.
Exactly. You need to listen to Back to Me by Lindsay Lohan.
Okay.
Great song. She kind of basically like put herself back into the narrative, and I loved it. She healed herself, and she's like, listen, I'm doing a lot better now, and here's my story, and here's a song about it.
There you go. And I like those kinds of things where, and that's why I read a lot of quotes and, anything that resonates with me right now in the present, I hang on to as a reminder that I'm on the right track.
Yes.
And that I have to keep moving forward. So yeah, I'll listen to that. Lindsay Lohan.
I'm like, come on, Mean Girls. It's like, live your life like that. Just choose if you want to be Katie or Regina.
No, I've never seen Mean Girls.
You've never seen
Never,
Mean Girls?
No.
Oh, this interview is over.
Joe, I'm 49.
My gosh.
So
what?
Well, my TV viewing is going to be a little different from yours.
Oh, I
just
doubt
a little
it.
different.
I watch movies from the 1930s.
Okay, I'll give you that. Is it a series?
No, like actual
It's just a
full-on
movie? Okay,
well,
I'll watch
multiple
it.
movies.
I'll watch it.
Well, Mean Girls is from like the early 2000s.
Okay, I'll take a look into it.
You better.
Oh, hilarious. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's move on to a new question. But this has been so much fun. Okay, let's see here. Oh, okay. Going on with this. How do you view and overcome failure?
That's funny. I was literally just having a conversation with somebody about something similar. I want to be as honest as possible. I don't know if I really and honestly know what failure is. There have been some things that I've tried and they haven't worked out. But as far as like failing at it, I go back to, I moved here with 3 kids and everything that could have gone wrong didn't. So I really don't know. What I used to tell people was I don't know what struggle is. To me, they're the same thing. They're kind of hand in hand, failure, struggle. I don't know what that is really, because every time I thought things were going to get tough, here comes something to say, hey, I don't care what you believe in, universe, source, God, somebody was there saying, I got you. Even when I didn't have enough confidence in myself to know that I had me, there was some other entity, force, whatever you want to call it, out there working on my behalf. And so those times that could have gotten tough with 3 kids just didn't. There was, I'll give you a quick story. Christmas, it was me and my kids' first Christmas in Iowa. And I went to La James for cosmetology. And I was friends with this young lady, and she was from Wellman, Iowa. And she's like, do you want to go Christmas shopping with me? And I'm like, sure, why not? And so she was taking me to this place called Pomida. And I had never heard of Pomida before. Never heard of it. I think it was in Washington, Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. So we get there, and I'm like, okay. It was similar to like a store that we had. I'm from Chicago, so similar to like one of the stores that we had in Chicago called Zayre's. So I was like, okay, I'm comfortable here. So we're shopping, and as we come to check out, and I had like 2 carts full of stuff. And I go up to the register, and the lady hands me this like paper. So like a scratch off, and you could get anywhere from 10% to 80% off of your purchase.
Oh my gosh.
And I scratch it off, and lo and behold, 80% off of my entire purchase. And I was just like, good looking out. Good looking out. Like 2 cartfuls of stuff that I paid little to nothing for. And we had the best Christmas.
That is awesome.
So when I say that things like that have happened to me my entire life, that I can look back on and say, you know, that wasn't me. I can tell stories like that all day long. So I don't know what failure is. I don't know what struggle is really. It's not something that's ever resonated with me.
I love that. What a great story as well. I'm like, ooh, I want this on like Hallmark right now. Doesn't need to be about love. It can be about 80% off scratch tickets.
Hey, that's love too.
That is love.
Especially to somebody like me. I'm a frugal girl.
Yes.
I love a good deal. Give me a clearance.
I do too. See, when I went to the dance event that was like in partner with a dance studio in Coralville and with Lululemon, and I did that. It was a free event, but afterwards they were like, "Oh, by the way, the whole store is 25% off," and I said, "What?" I got these wonderful pants.
I was checking those out. The color, actually, I love the color of those. I have a pair of pants that
and they were
color.
already on sale, and then I got 25% off that sale. I said, "Thank you."
Where's the failure in that?
Exactly. There was no failure.
Always a win-win.
Maybe for my bank account, but...
Not if, do you enjoy the pants?
Oh, well,
are they comfortable?
Exactly.
You got a good deal on them?
And they're lined.
Oh, see? you teasing a girl now. Right. I love a good pair of lined pants.
And deep pockets. Deep pockets.
Before I carried a purse, everything had to fit in my pockets.
See, but I like a good bag, too.
I do now.
Mm-hmm.
I do now, since I've stepped into womanhood.
Everybody once in a while needs to have that step, okay? Because I have my bag, too. I love a bag. I can't go anywhere without a bag, whether it's a belt bag or a full-on tote. You got to have one. All the essentials.
Absolutely.
No matter what you need.
What else would I carry my 12 lip glosses in?
Exactly.
Can't carry them in my pocket.
You got a go-to lip gloss?
I do. And it's a new one, actually. I don't even know okay, I don't wear makeup. Lip gloss is as far as it goes for me.
No, me too. And I'm like, I love a lip gloss. I have juicy lips.
Right? A good popping lip, like, it's where it's at.
Well, hold on. I got mine right here. Maybe you'll just love it. I have... Now I'm doing a little shout out here, a little campaigning here. I have the Lifter Gloss by Maybelline.
Okay. Well, my purse is over there. I think I'm using, is it NYX or NYX?
Yeah,
I'm
NYX.
I'm using a NYX, and I don't even know what the color is, but I love it.
You know what? I'm going to put
a little bit on. It shows up like very nude on my lip.
For the podcast, just for you guys.
It's called Butter Gloss.
Oh.
And I don't like anything too much. I don't like reds or anything like that. I love a good earth.
Yeah.
Neutral.
This has become a makeup podcast. Now you're welcome.
Lips popping?
Exactly. There we go.
Yes.
Lips popping podcast.
Yes. It's all about the lip gloss.
There we go.
10.
Oh my goodness. Well, this has been so much fun so far.
Absolutely.
How many times have we gotten off topic? I don't know.
I think the whole podcast, but...
But that's what makes it fun.
Absolutely.
And I love to laugh.
I do too.
So, how do you balance your personal life with your school life?
I have to say now it's a lot easier because I'm not working. Mm-hmm. And that was another little thing that the universe worked out for me. And that's why I'm here. I was working a job, and I remember coming in saying, this is not my retirement. And then a year later, they laid me off. And I was like, well, okay. Guess I spoke that into existence. So balancing school and my personal life, I have to say at 49, I'm an empty nester. I have a brother at home that I take care of. He's disabled, but I really don't have a whole lot going on outside of school right now. My husband's a truck driver, and I see him 2 days a week typically. So
that's enough time.
Absence does make the heart grow fonder. So we spend the weekends together and, do whatever we do on the weekends, have fun. We have a slingshot. We love taking that out when the weather is really nice out. And even when it's not, we've been in it in the rain. And so I have to say, there's not a whole lot of balancing going on here right now. It worked out exactly how it was supposed to work out.
I love that. And it's like, with your husband gone all the time, do you feel like a 19th century widow on the morn?
No, not at all. Oh my gosh,
Waving
I love
the
that. He's been doing it for so long. I'm just kind of used to it anymore, I guess. Like, I know I'll see him Friday. If he doesn't quite make it home on Friday, if he runs out of hours, he's usually home early Saturday, and we just try and make the most of it when he does get home. So
there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Honestly, I don't know about that. It's like, I'm a loving person. I'm like, if you're not here 24/7, then you cheating on me?
Well, we're both Capricorns, if that tells you anything.
Oh.
We're like cats. We'll tell you when we want to be touched. We need our space, and So I think for right now it works out perfectly.
Speaking of cats, are you a musical person?
Oh, are you kidding me? Yes.
What do you think of the musical Cats?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen the musical Cats. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I love some of the scores in Cats. I will say that I've listened to some of the scores from Cats that I do love, but actually seeing the musical, I've never seen it before.
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
But I just had to make mention of it.
What is your favorite?
My favorite musical?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
I love, set in 19th century France, excuse me. You had my heart.
Phantom's good. Phantom's good.
And now, what is yours?
This is going to sound crazy, but only because I played Joseph in our church production of Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
It has been
So
forever.
I've seen it like probably 3 or 4 times. I saw it when, what is his name? Oh gosh, I can't think of his name. It was a brother and sister group that used to sing together. She does the weight loss commercials.
Jenny Craig? No.
Is it what is?
Suzanne Summers?
No, not Suzanne Summers.
Julianne.
No, I can't think of her name. But anyway, I saw the original production of Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Like I said, I played Joseph, and I can go through all the colors of his coat if you'd like me to. It was red.
Do we have time?
We have time. I'll go through it quick.
There we go.
Red and yellow and crimson and gold and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and fawn, lilac, gold, chocolate, mauve. I think I might have got those mixed up. Cream, crimson, something. Azure and lemon and russet and gray, ruby and olive and pink and orange and blue. That was some of them.
Hey.
Not quite in order, but
We can make a remix to that. I love that.
we should do like a TikTok
Yeah.
of like remixing Joseph's Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Let me say, it was red and yellow. It was red and yellow and I can't even remember. Scarlet and black and ochre and peach, ruby, olive, violet, fawn, lilac, gold, chocolate, mauve, cream and crimson and silver and gold, azure and lemon and russet and gray, ruby and olive and pink and orange and blue. Something like that. Somebody will correct it somewhere along the line. But
As somebody will
he had a
on the
lot of colors in
internet.
his coat. That's what it boils down to. So that's my
That's
favorite.
the end of the remix right there. He had a lot of colors. Who cares about the order?
So yeah, Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And so, is that the musical you would want to be in?
Again, absolutely.
Again, yeah?
Absolutely. Like, there's this one song in there where he's talking about, like, being locked up. Like, he's locked up. And so he's, like, really just deep in thought about being locked up. And it's, like, this little, it's kind of a little sad song. And I remember just really knocking that out the park. I I loved it. I think it's called Close Every Door to Me or something like that. And my daughter actually played. There was a local production of Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and she was in that as well. So, yeah.
It was bound to be.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. That is amazing.
I mean, I'm not saying that I like nudged her towards it or anything, but I may have.
You just helped her in the right direction
Right.
of what she needed to do.
She needed to know how spectacular it
Exactly.
was.
How many
Yeah.
colors of the coat?
I mean, how could you live your life without knowing how many colors are in that coat?
I got chocolate, mauve, taupe, crimson.
Azure and lemon and russet and gray. Don't forget those.
Oh.
Ruby and olive, pink and orange and blue. Come on.
I do love a good olive.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Oh my gosh. Well, we could keep talking about musicals all this time, but I feel like I should ask you one more question here just to be on the safe side.
All right.
All right. Do you have a strong or loose sense of identity in college?
I'd have to say a strong sense of identity.
Well, especially on this podcast. Hello.
Absolutely. I think that, well, one, I think age has something to do with it, but I've always had a strong sense of identity my whole life, really. So in a setting like this where you have a lot of influences around you, for kids coming straight from home, kind of being on their own, I think that it's something that needs to be honed. Otherwise, you kind of get drawn into maybe things that you typically wouldn't, on your own think about doing or participating in, or, so I think that it really is important to hone your own identity outside of your friends or, outside of even the way that you were raised. That's the conversation that I was having. And it's so funny. I was talking about you today, Professor Allen, and it was about customizing your life and making it what you want it to be and not settling for someone else's belief systems, your mom's, your dad's, how you grew up, like a lot of times we just kind of think that that's the be all end all and that's the way that we go forward conducting our lives. And so that's kind of where the lines get blurred as far as identity is concerned. So really just kind of coming into your own and honing your own identity and customizing your life for yourself.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. I truly love your story, Monique, and it was amazing to actually have the privilege to interview you today.
Thank you. I've enjoyed you.
Well, good. I feel like we've clicked really well together, and I'm like, woo.
We're puzzle pieces. We fitting.
Exactly. There we go. We're the coat, and we got multiple colors.
There you go.
And we're just going along.
I agree with that.
We need more colors, though.
Do we?
Maybe.
Joseph's coat covered it. No, I'm joking.
Well, Joseph got 2 colors. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, hilarious.
Well, I believe it's probably time to do our ending here. So I'm going to say thank you, Monique.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for
Joe.
sharing your story and your perspective. And thank you for letting me interview you today.
Absolutely.
And thank you for letting me be on camera. I love being on camera.
You look very demure.
Oh, very mindful.
Very mindful.
Very considerate.
Thoughtful, considerate and very demure. I love it.
As we wrap up, is there a final thought or piece of advice you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Final thought or piece of... I have lots of final thoughts and advice.
Yeah. I will say pasta doubles, rice triples.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I think I'm going to leave with this. Ask because you can. Believe because it's a requirement the universe asks of us. And receive because it already belongs to you. Don't try, do. It requires the least amount of effort.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh. Well, little clap for you. Oh, I love it.
And for you as well.
Oh, thank you. Again, thank you so much. And thank you, Kirkwood, for the opportunity for this podcast, and Tara Allen and all of the team here. So I'm so happy to do it.
Gratitude.
Bye.